Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Unbound identity theory, and we're going to answer the question why. All right, so this content is part of a playlist, and you should watch it in the order it exists within its playlist, which is linked below. All right, so let's talk about why. Why did Gary Gygax, in my humble opinion, build Unbound identity in the way that he did? Why did he take the time to build Unbound identity? All right. Well, let's get into it. All right. So, in order to understand why Gary Gygax built Unbound identity, in my humble opinion, you have to look at his life, and you have to start at his birth. So, he's born in 1938. You know what happens right when he's born? World War II. Gary Gygax is born into the greatest conflict humanity has ever known. Born right into it, which is incredible and sad, right? When he turns 7 years old, he witnesses the detonation of 2 atomic bombs, and America introduces the world to mutual assured destruction, right? And which is a problem we live with literally to this day, right? He sees the birth of mad, right? He sees the birth of a world where humanity has reached a point where it could destroy its own planet, right? His childhood is bathed in witnessing the greatest bloodshed that has ever existed on planet Earth, okay? It continues. 1950s hits, and he watches the Korean War, okay? 1963 hits. Gary Gygax sees the death of a U.S. president, John F. Kennedy. 1968 hits. He sees John Kennedy's brother, right, who is going right down the same progressive road his brother went down, murdered, assassinated, right? Gary Gygax can't even blink. He's already seen more bloodshed, more death, more loss of humanity than most people have endured in centuries. It would take centuries to equal this level of violence and chaos and death, right? And he's barely recovering from the death of Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King dies, right? And all of this is prefaced by, in 1964, he sees U.S. American soldiers going over to Vietnam, and then for the first time ever in U.S. American history, veterans returning, being spit upon and mocked for their service. This is completely new, right? Every other war, American, soldiers are coming back from the wars, and it's thank you for your service. Now he's seeing U.S. soldiers returning, from fighting for their country, and are being mocked and spit upon, right? He sees chaos, death everywhere. The first drumbeat is the start, in his lifetime, the first drumbeat is literally the launch of the Second World War. The last drumbeat is the death of Martin Luther King, and in 1974, Gary says enough. He has seen that humanity is fundamentally broken, and and he's seen we have created the greatest weapons we have ever created, right? And now we have the ability to take our violence and our chaos straight to other worlds, right? And he's reading science fiction. He's like, not only are we subjecting our own world to violence, we're now reaching into space, and we've gone to the moon, and our star-flung violence and chaos is about to emerge. And I think he just said to himself, enough is enough. I have to do something. I have to break this cycle of chaos and death and sorrow and misery. We can be more. We can do more. And in my humble opinion, Gary looked at the world and says, I have to fix this. But then he also looked at himself and he said, I am a middle American, flyover state schlub, and no one is going to follow my human improvement engine. I think that's what he said to himself, right? And he said, I have to get this engagement. I have to reverse this order of chaos and death. I have to stop this madness, right? And so what he said is, I think he just said to himself, I can do this. I can build a human improvement engine. I can fix humanity, but I can't do it if I don't disguise it. And that's why he did it. I think that he knew, and I think he was 100% right. Nobody would have followed the Gygax human improvement engine. But disguised as a game, he has been 100% successful in making people more literate, more peaceful, more tolerant, more kind. And today, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition stands as a shining jewel of inclusion, tolerance, progressiveness, and is more firmly a human improvement engine than D&D 1E, which he fully oversaw, ever was. And Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is Gary Gygax's greatest legacy, and in my humble opinion, it's why he built Dungeons & Dragons to go forward, millennia forward. D&D 100E will still be serving as the same human improvement engine, calling everyone who plays it to build their vocabulary, build their library, build their empathy, build their love, build their intellect. And Dungeons & Dragons serves today as a human improvement engine that was built to spark and guide the next level of human evolution into love, tolerance, kindness, and progressiveness. It's what it was doing in 1974. It's what it's doing in 2022. That's the when. I also did the when in this one. And that's why he built Dungeons & Dragons as a human improvement engine, in my humble opinion. What's your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.